Last night, 17 House Republicans defied the president, party leadership, and voted for extending the ACA subsidies. This was the issue at the heart of last year's government shutdown. Now, so is this a sign of more or less to come? Because yes, this affects 24 million people, but it's the smallest part of fixing the cost problem. You only need the subsidies because of the costs. According to Trial Site News, TRIAL space SITE News, independent research group, very good. The cost of an employer-sponsored health care plan has risen 53% in the last decade. Wages, only up 7 to 9%, not keeping pace. Let's discuss what happened, what it may lead to or not and why, and the reality, okay? One of the Republicans who voted his conscience and his constituency is New York Congressman Mike Lawler of New York, Republican, and the founder of Trial Site News, Dan O'Connor. It's good to have you both. Thank you. Lawler, good for you, man. It is not easy. So why'd you do it?
Well, Chris, I think we can all recognize the healthcare system in our country is not working. And I looked at this very simply. You have a two-pronged approach that we had to tackle. One is the immediacy of the enhanced premium tax credits expiring. They were put in place during COVID, as you point out, for a reason, because cost was rising significantly. People were, unemployed, out of work in measure because businesses were forced to shut down. This was a way to help people afford to keep their health insurance. Secondarily is to deal with the larger issue of healthcare costs. Since Obamacare took effect, health insurance premiums have risen nationwide by 96%, while insurance company profits have risen over 2,000%. So insurance companies are doing very well. Why? Because Obamacare was written by the insurance companies for the insurance companies. We have to tackle the larger issue of Obamacare not actually reducing cost in our healthcare system. And so to me, I felt very strongly about the need to tackle this in a two-pronged approach, and I was not willing to do nothing and just let the enhanced premium tax credits expire.
Good for you, and I agree with you. This is the smallest part of the problem, but meaningful. I disagree on the origination of the ACA. It comes from the Heritage Foundation. Romney used it and was leading the way as a Republican. It was a Republican conservative idea, including the mandate, but that's the past. Do you believe there is appetite for doing anything about costs? Do you think the president will call in the healthcare CEOs, as he said, instead of the oil guys?
No, I do. And the White House has said they are going to. The president said it the other day when he came to meet with us in conference. And I know there's going to be hearings with the Ways and Means Committee and Energy and Commerce, bringing in the health insurance company CEOs and, frankly, raking them over the coals. The issue to me is, A, deal with the short term. I want a bipartisan agreement. The 3-year is not going to become law. It'll end up being a 2-year extension with reforms, income limit, insurance reforms, elimination of zero premium plans. I met with a bipartisan group of senators yesterday, and I do believe next week they will come to an agreement and release the text of that so that we can get that passed and signed into law. But I will say this.
Great, because people are thinking it's dead. Go ahead, give me a button, and I want to go to Dan. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah. Republicans put forth a bill right before the Christmas break that we passed through the House, and CBO scored it and said that it would reduce health insurance premiums by 11%, associated health plans, PBM transparency, among other provisions. We have to tackle this in a bipartisan way. This cannot linger. And so to me, the health insurance companies, we do need to go after them. United Healthcare should not be owning providers. They should not be owning PBMs. We have to start breaking up this monopoly and reform the system. And I'm fully committed to doing it.
So, Dan, thank you very much for listening to Mr. Lawler and for the reporting that you've been feeding me on this for a long time. What do you make of Lawler's position in the context of how you see the problem at Trial Site?
Thanks, Chris. Thanks for having me on. So I think Mr. Lawler is doing what he can potentially do in the current paradigm. We have a staggering problem. This is a deep systematic problem. We have almost 50% of our country that's on public health insurance, either Medicare. Medicare has gone from 600 billion to 1.2 trillion in just the last decade. Medicaid is now approaching $1 trillion. Now, this recent bill is going to cut that back, and that's going to create more challenges. There are 80 million, 70 to 80 million at any given time on Medicaid. There's 60 million on Medicare, and that's growing. The hospital costs, so the costs are coming from all sides. They're coming from consolidation in the healthcare systems, okay? There's monopolistic tendencies. On the payer side, right now in most states, a huge 80% or so of beneficiaries are controlled by one of three insurance companies. And then the drug makers and the device makers. So it's a system that's out of control. There needs to be reform. There's no other way about it. It's going to surpass our whole GDP in another decade. It's just a staggering problem.
And what is your sense, Dan, and then I'm coming back to you, Mike, for the same point, which is this. And why has it continued to exist this way? Power and influence. They hire in every state, in everybody's constituencies and across the country, and they lobby like nobody else. Where does the will come from to take on all that money and influence?
It's a crisis. It's not sustainable, Chris. So you're right. Each one of these mega industries has lobbies in Washington. They're huge employer generators. In a lot of communities, health systems are the #1 employers. The middle class,
right, and that's going to be the challenge, Dan. And that's why, look, I'm going to keep going with Dan because he's looking at the problem, but he can only report on what's offered up by the leadership. Mike, do you believe that there is a real appetite to take on the people who are filling the pockets, more on the left than on the right, by the way, and hiring people in all of your districts?
Oh, I don't think there's any question. You know, look, and I heard Dan's comment, obviously, with respect to Medicaid. The problem that we are dealing with in Washington is the rate of growth is massive. I mean, Medicaid spending doubled in the last 5 years, and it's unsustainable. And that's part of the reason we put significant reforms in place in the Working Families Tax Cut bill. But there's a larger challenge here, and you hit the nail on the head, Chris, which is that, you know, the industry writ large does everything they can to push back against reforms. They want the government to just throw more money at the problem. And ultimately, it's not a sustainable situation. You look at the pharmaceutical industry. The president is 100% correct to talk about most favored nation because we have been subsidizing prescription drug costs in other countries for years. It's absurd. Yep. It's absolutely absurd. And so that is something we need to tackle. And I fully support the president on that. And it's something Congress should be working to codify. But there is both parties have to recognize here. This is not about pointing fingers. We have a real crisis, and we have to be committed to actually fixing it. It's not about protecting the legacy of Obamacare. It's not about saying Obamacare is awful. It is about saying this system is not working, and how do we actually fix it?
Look, nobody wants it more than us here at NewsNation because nothing affects more people, red, blue. Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.